Hello everyone, my name is Arya J. Kutsirkar and I am a legal intern at Lexis & Company and a student of 5th year BLLB at JR Kari College of Law, Margao, Goa under the Goa University. Today I am going to be talking on the topic of protection of convicts for offences, protection with respect to the conviction of offences. And the purpose of making this video is to spread awareness about the constitutional safeguards provided for conviction for offences. The state has the power to investigate crimes and offences and to punish the guilty. Sometimes the state becomes overzealous in the effort to find and punish the guilty. Hence, it would not be fair to torture someone to commit to a particular crime or really punish someone for something that they did. In order to prevent such excesses and to prevent such unfairness, Article 20 of the Constitution provides certain protections in respect of conviction of offences. In very simple language, what this means is that you have the right to protect yourself in a criminal investigation or in criminal proceedings from unfair behavior or the excess of the state machinery, such as the police. Suppose the police passes a law which says that eating meat is a crime and that any person who eats meat in any form shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a month. Perhaps there are certain legitimate reasons why the government passed such a law. Fair enough. But what if the law also says that anybody who has eaten meat in the past 6 months would also be imprisoned? That would be clearly unfair because the law seeks to punish somebody who did something in the past when the act was not a crime. This is why Article 21 prohibits the passing of any law that punishes any act before the passing of a law. Suppose A has committed a crime and that he has been punished for it. He was sent to jail for 6 months, but after that he was released. He went back to his normal life and has become a model citizen. He has been working hard to rebuild his life and to contribute to society. But suddenly, after a few years of being out of jail, the government wants to send him back to jail for the same offense he had committed in the past. It is clearly unfair, as he has already gone through the criminal trial in an expensive and time-consuming process. He may even be sent to judicial custody as an under trial for some time. If after all this he was found innocent, it would be unfair if the government were allowed to force him to go through this entire process all over again. This is why Article 22 prohibits any person from being prosecuted and punished for the same offense twice. This is also called protection against double jeopardy. The governmental machinery is supposed to have been created for our welfare, and institutions like the police force are meant to protect us. In such a situation, should the police be allowed to torture a suspect or use force to compel someone to say that she has committed a crime? Of course not. Article 23 says that no person can be forced to make a statement, either oral or written, against herself. So if the police suspect that he has committed a crime, they may well question him, but they cannot hit him and use any form of physical force to make him say anything. The media also uses narco analysis. Truth serum test is becoming increasingly popular, especially in high-profile cases which have grabbed the nation's attention. So, in a situation where the police or CBI can conduct narco analysis test, but this would be similar to forcing him to say something because he is not in control of his senses. So, why is this allowed then? Any statements that is made by a person under the influence of such drugs cannot be used as a incriminating evidence against the court, but the police can use the statement for the purpose of their investigation. So if in an narco analysis test A says that he has killed X and hid the murder weapon in the garden, the police cannot use that as a confession in court, but they can go to the garden and try and look for the murder weapon and see if it has his fingerprints on it. Similarly, the police asks him for his fingerprints or blood or DNA samples. They are not forcing him to make a statement or be a witness against himself. They are merely doing this for the purpose of the investigation, and this is permitted. There are other safeguards to ensure that the state does not exercise its power in an unfair manner. For example, if he is taken to police custody, he must be produced before the magistrate within 24 hours. Article 22(1) requires this. His custody can be extended, that is, he can be sent to police custody only if the magistrate so orders. This is very important, otherwise the state could pick up people and keep them in custody for as long as it liked without any reason whatsoever. Please do like, share and subscribe and comment to my video, and do like, subscribe our channel LexClick, and make sure to press the bell icon to get notifications when we post a new video. Also, please give me a feedback on this video and previous videos which you can see on this YouTube channel. Also, if you have any questions related to this video or any previous videos, please post it in the comment section below. I will reply as soon as possible. Lastly, this video doesn't solicit any type of promotion or advertisement as per the guidelines of the Bar Council of India, and the sole purpose of making this video is for educational purposes only. Thank you.